Welcome to a new edition of Harness Central. I'm Harold Howe, and we're here with Dr. Paul Spears of the Standardbred Horse Sale Company. It's Sunday afternoon. I guess we're ready to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the sale. And I know you weren't here for the first one. Some people said you were, but you weren't. But, an interesting thought is, how has a business like this, that's what it is, a business, survived 75 years? In a game that's had more than its share ups and downs, and certainly over 75 years, the sales survived a world war, probably 15, 20 recessions, not to mention certain nefarious characters in the horse game. I mean, when you reflect on it all, why is it here?
Well, it's here because of the people who love the sport and keep coming back to buy the best racehorses, and we keep offering the best racehorses, so this is the place to be.
Harrisburg isn't exactly the center of the United States, though.
Well, that's true, and people don't come here to play. They always call this the business sale. So when people come, they know what they want to buy, and they're here to conduct their business.
People like to connect the dots in this game, and they'll look at Lexington and say, well, gee, this was the result over that sale, so that this sale should be like that. But history's proven that isn't always the case.
Well, it's not always the case, although in general the two sales parallel with results. 2008 was a major disconnect because of a change in the market. But in general, what's good for Lexington is usually good for us.
I know you're an astute observer of all the different jurisdictions. We're well aware of what is happening in Ontario. What about the rest of the game? How do you see it? I mean, let's start with Pennsylvania. I mean, you're in it. I mean, it's an ongoing situation here. It looks good, but you've always said, hey, tomorrow could be tomorrow.
Well, we have made our contract with the governments. Our game is now dependent on continued government support in Pennsylvania and many other jurisdictions. And after a while, the legislators who were around when the original legislation was passed are gone, and they're new people. And every year we have to go back and educate the new people about why this is good for Pennsylvania and why the Pennsylvania government should continue to support the sport as it does. It's an ongoing commitment, and as people in Ontario found out, sometimes things change. I think we just see that as being a continued challenge in the future, and so far things have gone well.
The Meadowlands. I mean, the Meadowlands is New Jersey, basically, racing. What's your observation of where it is today with essentially no breeding program left?
Well, the Meadowlands is the Meadowlands. I think the people who are still in New Jersey are making a commitment to stay in the sport. And I think they've de-emphasized their participation in the New Jersey Sire Stakes as a goal per se. I don't know if you've ever seen the Cancellari's new farm over there, but what a fabulous place. I just had the privilege of having Tom show me around just last week.
So you're saying it's amazing what unlimited funds can do?
I'm saying that the Cancellari's love their animals, they love the sport, and they're putting their heart and soul in it. I have never seen horses so happy. It's the equivalent of a spa. They're all calm. They're so well cared for. Their coats shine. You can go up and throw your arms around them, and they're having a great time. I just think that when you see things like that, you have to stay optimistic. And I think with people like that, putting their money in and hanging in as they are, I think in the end, New Jersey is going to turn around. Certainly no one has ever accused Mr. Gural of being anything less than astute. And for him to have gone back into the Meadowlands and made the investment and commitment that he has, I think New Jersey is in good hands.
What about Ohio?
Ohio, certainly that is very exciting. I think that Ohio has always been the sleeping giant in the sport. There are more people in Ohio with connections to horses. And you see that every year with the 40 to 50,000 people who come to see the Little Brown Jug, all the fellows in the overalls who are just pleased to see their horse win a $3,000 race at the fairs there. Now they've got some money. I think their program will continue to be regionally oriented rather than necessarily nationally oriented, but that's not a bad thing either. They're going to make their own people happy, and I think in the end that's a good way to go, because then it keeps the Ohio legislature happy too.
In New York?
New York has been a big stronghold, and I was fortunate enough this year to breed a filly that was a New York Sire Stake champion, a 3-year-old. She made over $300,000 basically racing in the New York Sire Stakes. That is a very strong program. You don't have to ship your horse everywhere, and I think New York horses will be in great demand.
So when you put all the pieces together, as the CEO of the sale company essentially, how do you feel going into it all tomorrow on the yearling front?
Well, I feel pretty good about it. I think even Ontario, while there are still challenges there, I think removing the uncertainty at least allows people to plan their future instead of not knowing anything. Maybe that will change how people buy here a little bit, but I think uncertainty is always better than uncertainty. I think Pennsylvania being strong with Ohio coming on, New York being strong, I think it'll be a good sale.
And breeding stock-wise, when we get into the mixed session?
I think there are fewer brood mares than there have been in quite a while. I think that, again, shows that owners are keeping their mares on the track longer because they can make more money there. I think the breeding industry has contracted over the last several years. You've seen that in all the figures. So I think the number of mares in the sale being down is simply a reflection of the industry at large. The racehorse segment is still strong. So overall, with that one caveat in mind, I think it'll be a good mixed sale. It's nice to have the remnants of the Peretti group to sell. There's some really good mares in there. A mare that I bred, or my family bred, I should say, Examination, who was the dam of Costa Rica, is going to be sold, and I'm going to be real anxious to see what she brings.
Well, we'll all be watching, and good luck over the next several days, Pete. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Harold.
Harold Howe with Dr. Paul Spears, giving you the Harness Racing Edge.